Hey YouTube! As a huge fan of the R+L = J theory, I've decided to make a video to discuss all the scenes from Season 1 to 5 supporting the theory. If you are wondering what the R+L = J really means, it is the most popular and widely accepted fan theory which gives us the answer to the question, who are Jon Snow's real parents? According to the theory, Jon Snow is not the illegitimate son of Ned Stark and an unknown woman, but his real parents are Dany's elder brother, Rhaegar Targaryen, and Ned Stark's little sister, Lyanna. The theory further states that Rhaegar didn't kidnap Lyanna, instead she fell in love with Rhaegar, secretly married him at God's Wood, and ran away with him willingly. As you know, Robert started a rebellion to get back his betrothal, Lyanna. But the rebellion was not only just started for Lyanna, also because of the Mad King who had already killed 2 Starks.
Or if I thought to warn Brandon Stark against his rashness. He came to King's Landing himself, demanding Rhaegar return his sister. Poor fool. If he'd only known the depth of Aerys' madness, he wouldn't have dared provoke him. Aerys ordered Brandon imprisoned, and I could do nothing but obey. When Brandon's father, Lord Rickard Stark, came to King's Landing to beg for his son, Aerys burned him alive, and I could do nothing but watch.
Rhaegar went to fight off Robert, leaving Lyanna in the Tower of Joy in the Dornish Mountains. In the battle, Robert emerged as the victor, killing Rhaegar.
A plan was devised. Prince Rhaegar would personally lead the royal forces, now reinforced with 10,000 Dornishmen, north to face Robert. Of the King's Guard, Luan Martell and I would ride with the prince. Before we left, the prince confided in me that when he returned from this battle, there would be a great many changes in court. Despite my vows to the king, I confess I was excited. On the march to face Robert's army, we were sure we'd win. We had superior numbers, and we had Prince Rhaegar. His presence lifted the spirits of our men, and he looked every inch the king he was destined to become. But at the Trident, the gods played a cruel joke. Robert proved the Baratheon words as his army smashed through our lines. Luan Martell was killed. I fell in combat, badly wounded, and could do nothing but watch as Robert's warhammer ended Rhaegar's glorious reign before it began, and the kingdom that would never be washed away down the Trident with his lifeblood.
And then Ned goes with a bunch of his bannermen, around 7 men, including him, to get Lyanna. He fights with a few of the King's Guards, including Sir Arthur Dayne. At the end of the fight, Howland Reed and Ned are the only 2 people who survived. He then finds Lyanna dying in a pool of her own blood, which fans speculate is childbirth. That is, the birth of Jon Snow, but he told everyone that a fever took her. Lyanna makes Ned promise something that we don't actually know, and then she dies in his arms. And you know what happened after the battle. Ned came home with Jon Snow, claimed him as his illegitimate son, and never talked about his mother. So this is a summary of R+L = J. Though there are a couple of more different theories about Jon Snow's parents, but this is the most popular among them all. Personally, I like this theory very much, and I hope it becomes true. Now that the Tower of Joy flashback scene has been filmed last year, expectations are at peak levels, and it is highly anticipated that Jon Snow's real parents will be revealed in Season 6, and fans speculate that it will be one of Bran's green sight visions. With Season 6 coming, it would be fun to discuss all the scenes supporting this theory. So, spoiler alert for everything that happened on the show so far, and I'll be talking about some book stuff too. So here we go. Let's start with the fact that Jon Snow is not the son of Lord Stark and a mysterious woman. If you look at the following clip, Ned gets emotional when Cat confronts him about Jon.
17 years ago, you rode off with Robert Baratheon. You came back a year later with another woman's son. And now you're leaving again.
I like the encrypted words, "you came back with another woman's son," since it has multiple meanings. Ned gets emotional not because of leaving his wife and son. He is not guilty because he didn't cheat his wife. The actual reason is because of his complicated life, which didn't allow him to share the truth about Jon with Catelyn. In the books, troubled sleep was no stranger to Ned, and dreams haunted him in the night, which is Lyanna's promise. When the series began, he had lived lives for 14 years, which is after the rebellion, and Jon is 14 years old when the series started. Don't get confused, the show aged up all the characters. The next scene is Ned saying his final goodbye to Jon.
The Starks have manned the wall for thousands of years. And you are a Stark. You might not have my name, but you have my blood.
Ned didn't call him his son, and he chose his words more carefully. He said, "You have my blood," which means his sister's blood. Technically, he shares his blood with Jon. He called him as Stark. That's true, because his mother was a Stark, which makes him half Stark.
Is my mother alive? Does she know about me, where I am, where I'm going? Does she care?
The next time we see each other, we'll talk about your mother. I promise.
All these years he never talked about his mother, but why would he promise next time? The answer is quite simple, because when the next time he meets Jon, he would probably be a sworn brother of the Night's Watch, given up all his claims to lands and titles. His vows won't allow him to take part in the politics and war. Just observe Ned's expression in this scene.
Yours was, Alina? No, you told me once. Meryl? Your bastard's mother.
Wyalla.
That's it. She must have been a rare wench to make Lord Eddard Stark forget his honour. You never told me what she looked like.
Nor will I.
From the look on his face, I can surely say that he is lying, and King Robert said, "She must be a rare woman to make Lord Stark forget his honor." They are trying to tell us that Ned is an honorable man who would never do such things which would disgrace his loyalty and honor. Now look at this conversation between Catelyn and Jaime.
Now when good old Ned came home with some horse baby, did you pretend to love it? No. You're not very good at pretending. You're an honest woman. You hated that boy, didn't you? How could you not hate him? The walking, talking reminder that the Honorable Lord Eddard Stark fucked another woman.
Jaime reminds us that Ned is not the type of man who cheats his wife. Especially, I love the way he stressed the words, which is notable here.
You think highly of this boy?
Good.
Lord Commander of the Night's Watch?
A bastard by some tavern slut.
Perhaps, but that wasn't Ned Stark's way.
First King Robert, then Jaime, now Stannis. It's kind of boring to repeat the same fact again and again, but they all led to the same fact. Stannis said, "Perhaps that is not Ned Stark's way," which means Ned is not the kind of man who walks into brothels or enjoys the company of prostitutes.
Murderer. I'd condemn this poor, innocent child to a horrible death. All because I was jealous of his mother. A woman he didn't even know.
Catelyn said, "A woman he didn't even know," which is not true here. Instead of telling lies, it is better not to talk at all, because lies will only get you in trouble one day, and you can't escape from it. That's why in the books, Ned gave a fitting reply to Cat when she confronted him about Jon. These are the lines. "Never ask me about Jon," he said, cold as ice. "He is my blood, and that's all you need to know." Let's move to the next part of the theory, which is Lyanna fell in love with Prince Rhaegar. In the book, Daenerys has a vision of a sweet-scented blue flower growing from a crack in a wall of ice. Now here is the interesting part. Dany saw the blue flower growing in the wall of ice. Jon is at the wall. Literally, it is the wall of ice. Lyanna was fond of blue winter roses, and Rhaegar chose Lyanna as Queen of Love and Beauty by presenting her the crown of blue winter roses.
The last two riders were Barristan Selmy and Rhaegar Targaryen. When Rhaegar won, everyone cheered for their prince. I remember the girls laughing when he took off his helmet and they saw that silver hair, how handsome he was. Until he rode right past his wife, Elia Martell, and all the smiles died. I've never seen so many people so quiet. He rode past his wife, and he lay a crown of winter roses in Lyanna's lap, blue as frost. How many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt?
Yes, he chose her. And then he kidnapped her and raped her.
And Lyanna didn't like her betrothal to Robert very much because at the time when she was promised to him, he had already an illegitimate daughter, and she even complained about this to his brother. On the other hand, Rhaegar was known as a handsome and noble man.
But there was hope. His son and heir. Prince Rhaegar was everything a kingdom could hope for in a ruler. He was strong but gentle, wise and cautious, and a good friend. No matter the wounds Aerys dug into the realm, we had faith that his son would sew it back together again when he ascended the throne.
And beautiful, noble Rhaegar Targaryen left her for another woman.
When your brother Rhaegar led his army into battle at the Trident, men died for him because they believed in him, because they loved him, not because they'd been bought at a slaver's auction. I fought beside the last dragon on that day, Your Grace. I bled beside him.
Rhaegar fought valiantly, Rhaegar fought nobly, and Rhaegar died.
Did you know him well, Sir Barristan?
I did, Your Grace. Finest man I ever met.
One of Rhaegar's special talents was singing at the time. Lyanna was melted away by Rhaegar's performance. Here are the lines. The Dragon Prince sang a song so sad it made the wolf maid Lyanna sniffle. But when her pup brother teased her for crying, she poured wine over his head.
Why?
We like to walk among the people. We like to sing to them.
He sang to them?
Yes. Rhaegar would pick a spot on the Hook or the Street of Seeds, and then he'd sing. Just like all the other minstrels.
And what did you do?
I made sure no one killed him. And I collected the money. Well, he'd like to see how much he could make.
He was good?
He was very good. Viserys never told you.
He told me Rhaegar was good at killing people.
Rhaegar never liked killing. He loved singing.
The theory says that Lyanna was not kidnapped. She ran away with Rhaegar willingly. In the books, Ned compares his tomboyish daughter Arya to Lyanna in both appearance and personality, adding that Lyanna probably would have carried a sword if her father had allowed it. Lyanna was consistently noted as an extremely skilled rider. She also had an interest in sword fighting, and she even outfought her brother Benjen once. If literally someone tried to kidnap Lyanna, it won't be that easy. So she fell in love with the Dragon Prince and ran away with him willingly. You might even think this is silly, but please bear with me. Both Lyanna and Rhaegar are described as pretty in the books, and Jon gets his handsome looks from his parents. He was called a pretty boy in the show not 1 time, but 6 times.
Who's this little girl? You're prettier than half my daughters.
You're a pretty lad. Girls would claw each other's eyes out to get naked with you.
Because he's pretty, is that it? You like his pretty hair and his pretty eyes. You think pretty's gonna make you happy?
Because I'll cut your pretty cock right off and wear it round me neck.
Your pretty crows had 1,000 men on this thing there.
Yeah, well, he's a liar.
Is that right? You and the pretty crow do a lot of talking, Tormund. He's prettier than both my daughters. But he knows how to fight.
And in the books, Jon is said to be a look-alike of Arya, and Arya is said to be the resemblance of Lyanna. There are several moments in the show where Jon is portrayed as a Targaryen.
A Targaryen, alone in the world. It's a terrible thing.
All right, what is this matter of strategy?
Dusk grow. Dusk grows tea eases fever. Everyone in Marine knows that, especially the slaves who have to make the tea.
Jon may not have the appearance of a Targaryen, but they teased it with his wolf. Just like Jon Snow, Ghost stands apart from his pack, with his snow-white fur, which represents the silver hair of a Targaryen, red eyes. You can link this up to the House Targaryen words fire and blood. The sigil of the house is Red Dragon, and the status as a runt of the litter.
I'm not a Stark. Get on.
What is it?
Runt of the litter. That one's yours, Snow.
In the show, Melisandre seduced Jon Snow.
In our joining, there's power. Power to make life, power to make light, and power to cast shadows.
She usually seduces only people with king's blood, and Jon's father was the crown prince, and his grandfather was the infamous Mad King. So technically he gets king's blood from his grandfather. Now don't argue with me that she seduced him because he is Ned Stark's son. If she really wanted a lord's son, she could find a ton of illegitimate children of the lords all over the Seven Kingdoms. Now check this conversation between Jon and Maester Aemon.
If the day should ever come when your Lord Father was forced to choose between honor on the one hand and those he loves on the other, what would he do?
He would do whatever was right, no matter what.
Then Lord Stark is one man in 10,000.
Ned was a man of honor, but when it comes to honor and the people he loves, he always chose the people. And that is what he did. He didn't care about his honor, claimed Jon as his son, and almost did everything to protect Jon for his sister. If King Robert came to know that Jon was Rhaegar's son, he would only see him as a threat to the crown, and because of his hatred toward Rhaegar, he would only want Jon to be executed.
What Rhaegar Targaryen did to your sister, the woman I loved. I'll kill every Targaryen I get my hands on.
Do you know what happened to the Targaryen children when the Mad King fell?
They were butchered in the sleep.
On the orders of Tywin Lannister. And the years have not made him kinder.
Now Ned has to defend Jon and plead for him. His lifelong friendship with the king would have been broken, and he'll be stamped as a traitor. There will be instability in the realm. House Tyrell and the other Targaryen supporters will rally behind Jon to wage war against King Robert and the Lannisters. Lord Stark avoided all of these issues by simply protecting Jon's identity. The only other person who knows the truth is Howland Reed, and he never talked about the rebellion for Ned and Jon.
Your father is Howland Reed? Yeah. Saved my father's life during the rebellion.
Father told you about the rebellion. Mine never did. I saw that too.
What else have you seen?
The only one thing that matters. You.
I never met my mother. My father wouldn't even tell me her name. I don't know if she's living or dead. I don't know if she's a noblewoman, or a fisherman's wife, or a whore.
And finally, I find this fan theory more interesting and plausible. The theory is that Ned shared the truth about Lyanna and Jon with his brother Benjen in the crypts of Winterfell. As a Stark and brother of Lyanna, he deserves to know what happened. So Ned told him the secret, made him promise not to tell anyone, and asked him to join the Night's Watch. For the Starks, serving in the Night's Watch is an honor, but Benjen took the black because of Jon. Benjen is the only brother of Ned. He was much more needed in the house rather in the Night's Watch. If Ned was killed during the Greyjoy Rebellion, who would lead House Stark other than Benjen? Yeah, you can say Robb Stark, but he is barely a child at the time. When Jon decided to take the black, Benjen didn't like the decision, and he even tried to dismiss it. He said, "You don't know what you are giving up."
So take me with you when you go back.
Jon.
Father will let me if you ask him. I know he will.
The wall isn't going anywhere.
I'm ready to swear your oath.
You don't understand what you'd be giving up. We have no families. None of us will ever father sons.
I don't care about that.
You might, if you know what it meant.
So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe.